For a lot of people, securing a food source means chickens, goats, or a vegetable patch, all great. But those systems need external inputs: feed, seed, and fertilizer. But what if the highest protein farm on your land was one you could start for $60, that expands itself automatically, and runs for 30 years using nothing but the free waste wood chips tree services pay you to take? This isn't a sterile lab experiment. This is the most underrated permanent protein system on the planet. Now let's look at number 8, the Perennial Mushroom Mother Patch, the protein farm that spreads itself. Most people think mushroom cultivation requires sterile labs and complex equipment. Dead wrong. A mushroom mother patch produces 5 to 15 pounds of gourmet mushrooms per square foot annually and expands indefinitely across your property as long as you feed it free wood chips, which tree services will deliver for nothing. This isn't set it and forget it. It's better. You inoculate once, then the mycelium network becomes a living mother culture. You expand for decades by top dressing with wood chips and transplanting colonized material to new beds. It's like sourdough starter for protein production. Here's the nutrition bomb. Mushrooms are 15 to 30% protein by dry weight, higher than most vegetables, plus they're loaded with B vitamins, vitamin D when sun exposed, and immune supporting compounds. A 10 by 10 foot mother patch producing 100 pounds annually provides 50 to 70 pounds of high quality protein, equivalent to eating chicken twice weekly for a family of 4. Super easy, cheap setup. Pick a shady spot under trees or north side of buildings, lay down cardboard to suppress weeds. Pile 8 to 12 inches of hardwood chips in a 4 by 8 foot bed. Order wine cap mushroom spawn, also called King Stropharia, for $35 to $50 from Field and Forest Products or Fungi Perfecti online. Mix spawn throughout the wood chip layers as you build the bed. Water thoroughly. Cover with burlap or more leaves. Total cost $60 to $80 for your founding mother patch. Wine cap mushrooms are aggressive colonizers. Within 4 to 8 weeks, white mycelium threads spread through your wood chips. Within 4 to 6 months, you get your first mushroom flush. Here's where it gets genius. Every fall or spring, add 4 to 6 inches of fresh hardwood chips on top. The mycelium consumes this new fuel and keeps producing. Local tree services dump wood chips free because they need to dispose of them. You're turning waste into food. To expand, dig up handfuls of colonized wood chips from your mother patch and transplant them into new mulched areas around fruit trees, garden paths, or shady zones. The mycelium spreads from these transplants, colonizing new territory. Within 2 years, you can have mushroom production across hundreds of square feet from your original $40 spawn investment. Here's the mind-blowing part. Wine caps actually improve soil while producing food. The mycelium breaks down wood chips into rich humus, feeds beneficial bacteria, and suppresses plant diseases. You're building soil fertility while harvesting protein. Permaculture designers call this stacking functions. For longer-term production with different species, add shiitake logs. Buy shiitake plug spawn for $20 to $30 per 100 plugs. Drill holes in fresh-cut oak, maple, or beech logs 4 to 6 inches diameter. Hammer in spawn plugs. Seal with cheese wax. Stack logs in shade. They'll fruit for 4 to 8 years depending on log diameter. The rule is 1 year per inch of thickness. An 8-inch diameter oak log produces for 8 years. The Japanese have cultivated shiitake for over 1,000 years using this exact log method. It's not experimental hippie gardening. It's proven traditional food production that predates industrial agriculture. Maintenance is watering during dry periods, harvesting mushrooms when they fruit, and adding fresh wood chips to beds annually. Transplant colonized material to expand your production area whenever you mulch new spaces. That's 15 to 20 hours yearly for continuous gourmet mushroom production that spreads across your property. When supply chains collapse, fresh produce becomes scarce within weeks. Your mushroom mother patch keeps producing protein-rich food in spaces that grow nothing else, and it expands as far as you have wood chips to feed it. This is living infrastructure, not dead technology. But mushrooms are supplemental nutrition. The next system delivers the foundational resource, water, without any electricity. Number 7, ram pump water system, the hydraulic machine that pumps forever. Most people don't know that ram pumps use flowing water to pump water uphill with zero electricity, zero fuel, and only 2 moving parts. This 1800 technology runs 50 to 100 years with minimal maintenance. A ram pump uses water flow and gravity to create hydraulic pressure cycles that force water uphill. The efficiency is 10 to 15%, but who cares when it runs free, 24/7 for decades. For every 100 gallons flowing through, 10 to 15 gallons get pumped uphill to your homestead. Here's the mind-blowing part. A single ram pump delivering 1,000 gallons daily uses about the same water flow as 2 garden hoses running continuously, but pumps the water 300 feet uphill without any power source. The wastewater just returns downstream. Quick setup: buy a commercial ram pump like Rife or High Lifter for $800 to $1,500. Run 2-inch PVC pipe downhill from your spring or creek for minimum 3 feet of drop. Mount the pump at the bottom. Run 1/2-inch delivery line uphill to storage tanks. The pump self-starts and runs forever. You need minimum 5 gallons per minute source flow and 3 feet of vertical drop. Measure your stream during dry season to verify. The rhythmic hammering sound, 1 to 2 beats per second, means it's working. That sound becomes the heartbeat of your homestead. Installation takes 1 day with basic plumbing skills. Maintenance is checking it quarterly and rebuilding valves every 20 to 30 years for $40 in parts. Compare that to electric well pumps failing every 10 years at $2,000 replacement cost. When the grid fails, you have pressurized running water while neighbors haul buckets. But elevation-based systems don't work everywhere. The next item works anywhere you can drill or dig 25 feet. Number 6, shallow well hand pump, the backup. That becomes primary. Most people think hand pumps are primitive emergency backups. Wrong. A properly installed hand pump delivers 8 to 12 gallons per minute through manual pumping and works for 30 to 50 years. One adult pumping at moderate pace delivers 600 gallons per hour. For household needs of 200 gallons daily, you're pumping 20 minutes total. Split between family members, it's 7 minutes each. That's the trade-off for permanent water independence. Here's the shocking comparison. Pioneers supplied entire households using hand pumps. Modern Americans think pushing a button is essential, but our great-grandparents pumped water while building the country. The hand pump didn't fail them then and won't fail you now. Quick setup. Buy a Bison or simple pump for $300 to $500. These install in existing wells alongside electric pumps using the same casing. 4-hour installation with basic tools. If you don't have a well, drive a sand point for $150 in materials. Pound a screened pipe into sandy soil until you hit water at 15 to 25 feet. The pump components are stunningly simple. Cylinder, piston with leather seals, check valves, handle. Physics limits shallow well pumps to 25 feet depth maximum. Beyond that, atmospheric pressure can't lift water higher. For deeper water, you need deep well hand pumps using pump rods, but those work to 300 feet. Maintenance is annual inspection and lubricating pivot points. Rebuild the piston every 5 to 10 years with $20 in leather cups. When everyone's electric wells are dead, you're still pumping unlimited water manually. Water sustains life, but the next system provides heat, the second survival priority, using 1/4 the wood of standard stoves. Number 5, masonry heater, the thermal mass that burns. Once daily. Most people heat with wood stoves requiring constant feeding and wasting 80% of heat up the chimney. Masonry heaters burn once daily, capture 90% of heat and thermal mass, and radiate warmth for 24 hours from a single firing. This is Finnish and Russian technology perfected over centuries. You build an intensely hot fire for 1 to 2 hours at 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The combustion gases travel through channels inside 3,000 to 6,000 pounds of brick or stone, transferring heat before exiting. The mass stores this heat and radiates it steadily all day and night. Here's the efficiency shock. A masonry heater uses 1 cord of wood for 6 to 8 weeks of heating. A standard wood stove burns 1 cord every 2 weeks for the same warmth. That's 4 times less wood cutting, hauling, and splitting. When chainsaw fuel is gone and you're cutting manually, that efficiency becomes survival critical. Quick setup for DIYers. Study plans from Masonry Heater Association, then build using fire brick for the firebox core and standard brick for the mass. Materials cost $3,000 to $6,000. Basic masonry skills required. Hire a professional if uncertain, as incorrect construction creates smoke and fire hazards. Professional installation runs $8,000 to $15,000 but lasts a century. The firebox burns at 2,000 degrees, but the surface of the masonry only reaches 150 to 200 degrees, safely radiant. You load 20 to 40 pounds of firewood once daily, burn it completely in 90 minutes, and enjoy even heat for the next 24 hours. Compare that to feeding a wood stove every 3 hours around the clock. Maintenance is removing ash weekly and sweeping the chimney annually. Rebuild the firebox every 20 to 30 years with new fire brick. The mass itself lasts centuries. European masonry heaters from the 1700s still function perfectly today. Number 3, root cellar, the refrigerator that needs no electricity. Most people think food preservation requires canning, freezing, or dehydrating. Root cellars store fresh vegetables and fruits for 6 to 12 months using only Earth's natural cooling. An underground structure maintaining 32 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 85 to 95% humidity creates perfect storage. 100. Pounds of potatoes harvested in October stay fresh until May. Carrots last through winter. Winter squash keeps 8 months. Apples hold 6 months. Here's the capacity shock. A 12 by 12 foot root cellar stores 500 to 1,000 pounds of produce. That's 3 to 6 months of vegetables for a family of 4 from one harvest, in a space the size of a garden shed. The Amish have used root cellars for 3 centuries because they work better than refrigeration for many crops. Quick, cheap setup: dig into a hillside or excavate a pit 6 feet deep. Line with concrete blocks for $300. Add a basic roof frame covered with corrugated metal, then bury under 2 feet of soil. Install 2 4-inch PVC pipes for ventilation, one at floor level, pulling cool air in, one at ceiling, exhausting warm air out. Add an insulated door, total cost under $1,000 for DIY construction. The 2-pipe ventilation is critical. Natural convection circulates air automatically without fans. Adjust pipe dampers to maintain temperature. The earth provides insulation, maintaining stable conditions year-round. Different vegetables need specific conditions, but most root crops thrive in the same range. Store potatoes, carrots, beets, turnips, parsnips, cabbage, and winter squash together. Keep apples separate as they emit ethylene gas, affecting other produce. Maintenance is annual cleaning and inspecting for water intrusion. That's 4 hours yearly for 6 months of fresh food storage without electricity or canning labor. When grid power fails permanently, frozen food spoils in days. Canned goods deplete, but your root cellar keeps fresh vegetables available all winter. Food storage extends harvest value, but the next system creates new food continuously from waste. Number 2, worm composting system, the protein factory that feeds itself. Most people think composting is waste management. Wrong. Worm composting is a protein production system, generating 1 to 2 pounds of harvestable worms weekly from kitchen scraps, providing continuous chicken feed, fish bait, or emergency protein. Red wiggler worms consume organic waste and reproduce rapidly. The population doubles every 60 to 90 days. Start with 1 pound of worms, 1,000 individuals costing $30 to $40. In 90 days, you have 2 pounds. In 6 months, 4 pounds. In 9 months, 8 pounds. Here's the protein bomb. Worms are 25% protein by dry weight, higher than beef. 8 pounds of worms equals 2 pounds of pure protein. Fed to chickens, this cuts grain requirements in half. 6 laying hens eating supplemental worms maintain egg production on 50% less feed. You're creating premium protein from garbage while everyone else is buying expensive chicken feed that will disappear during supply disruptions. Super cheap, quick setup. Buy 3 18-gallon plastic totes at Walmart for $12 each. Drill 1/4-inch ventilation holes in the sides and lid, spacing every 3 inches. Drill drainage holes in bottom. Stack 1 tote inside another to catch moisture. Fill working tote with shredded cardboard or coconut coir bedding 4 inches deep. Add 1 pound of red wigglers for $35 from Uncle Jim's Worm Farm online. Bury kitchen scraps under bedding. Total cost under $80 for a system producing protein indefinitely. The worms process food scraps over days to weeks. As population grows, increase feeding. Harvest worms by pushing finished compost to one side and adding fresh bedding and food to the other side. Worms migrate to new food over 2 weeks. Remove finished compost for garden use, leaving concentrated worm population. For human consumption in genuine emergencies, worms are complete protein with all essential amino acids. Purge them on clean cornmeal for 24 hours. Cook thoroughly. Not appetizing, but legitimate survival food used by indigenous cultures for millennia. Maintenance is weekly feeding and monthly moisture checks. Divide populations annually to prevent overcrowding. That's 15 hours yearly for continuous protein production from waste. You're creating food from garbage while everyone else is just creating garbage. But worm protein is supplemental. The number 1 system produces complete nutrition for decades from a single installation. Number 1, perennial food forest with nitrogen fixers, the garden that plants itself. Most people garden annuals requiring yearly planting, constant weeding, heavy fertilization, and intensive labor. Food forests produce for 30 to 100 years from a single planting, need minimal maintenance after establishment, and improve soil naturally. A food forest mimics natural forest structure using edible plants in layers. Nut and fruit trees form the canopy. Smaller fruit trees and shrubs fill the understory. Berries occupy the shrub layer. Perennial vegetables and herbs create the ground layer. Root crops and vines complete the system. Here's the production shock. A 1-acre food forest at maturity produces 1,000 to 3,000 pounds of nuts, 500 to 1,500 pounds of fruit, 200 to 500 pounds of berries, and hundreds of pounds of perennial vegetables annually. That's complete nutrition for a family of 4 with surplus for preservation and barter from a system requiring 40 hours yearly maintenance. Compare that to annual gardens demanding 200 hours yearly while producing for only 1 season. Setup approach: start small with quarter acre. Buy 10 to 15 bare root fruit and nut trees adapted to your climate for $200 to $600 from Stark Brothers or local nurseries in late winter. Space 20 feet apart. Around each tree, plant 3 nitrogen-fixing shrubs like Siberian pea shrub, autumn olive, or gumi from One Green World Nursery, adding $150 to $300. These fix atmospheric nitrogen, eliminating fertilizer needs forever. Underplant with comfrey roots for $15 per dozen from Amazon. Mulch heavily with free wood chips from local tree services. Total cost $500 to $1,200 for a system producing for 50-plus years. The secret is nitrogen fixers. Plants like Siberian pea shrub have root nodules containing bacteria, converting atmospheric nitrogen into plant-available forms. These nitrogen fixers, interplanted with fruit trees, provide natural fertilization forever, eliminating external inputs. It's like having a fertilizer factory built into your forest. The first 2 years require irrigation during establishment and weed management. By year 3, the system becomes self-maintaining. The canopy closes, shading out weeds. Nitrogen fixers provide fertility. Mulch cycling feeds soil biology. You transition from gardener to harvester. Harvest begins year 2 or 3 for fast-producing shrubs. And perennials. Trees bear years 3 to 7 depending on species. By year 10, the system reaches peak production and maintains that output for decades. The understory vegetables are permanent. Perennial onions, asparagus for 20-plus years, rhubarb forever, Jerusalem artichokes yielding tubers annually. Good King Henry, sorrel, lovage, countless perennials eliminate annual planting. Maintenance is annual pruning, harvesting nitrogen fixer branches for mulch, and replanting occasional casualties. That's 20 to 40 hours yearly for quarter acre. Compare that to annual gardens requiring weekly weeding, fertilizing, and replanting every spring. When supply chains collapse permanently, the food forest continues producing. When fuel for tillers disappears, the food forest needs no tilling. When fertilizer becomes unavailable, the food forest fertilizes itself. This is complete food sovereignty from a one-time installation that your grandchildren will harvest. 8 systems. Mushroom mother patches for shade-grown protein that expands itself. Ram pumps and hand pumps for water. Masonry heaters for efficient heating. Microhydro for continuous power. Root cellars for food preservation. Worm systems for protein production. Food forests for permanent food security. That's it for today. None of this works if it stays theoretical. If you want a practical starting point, there's a link in the description showing how to become self-sufficient on just a quarter acre. See you in the next one.